Beginning. The forbidden arrival. They said her presence could melt flesh and shatter sanity, that even standing in her shadow was a death sentence. To most, she was known only as Vaelara, the alien vampire queen of the Crimson Reach, a being whose aura fed on energy, emotion, and thought itself. No human had ever survived in her presence. Until Commander Elias Kane volunteered. The year was 2437, and humanity's expansion into the outer spiral colonies had reached the borders of Vaelara's domain. The Galactic Accord sent emissaries, peace talks, and even warriors, but all had failed. Her people, the Sythari, had no need for alliances. They fed on what other species feared to lose: life essence. When Elias volunteered for the mission, his crew thought it suicide. But he didn't go for politics. He went because he'd seen her once during a battlefield broadcast. Her image, her voice, her eyes. There was something in the way she carried both beauty and death that haunted him. So, when the message came that Vaelara had demanded to meet a human representative who was not afraid, Elias answered. Middle. The first encounter. The ship descended through violet storms over Sythar Prime, lightning illuminating spires of obsidian. He felt her presence even before the doors opened, a pulse like the gravity of a dying star. The guards, tall and silver-skinned, stood aside as he entered her chamber. And there she was, sitting upon a throne that shimmered like living crystal. Vaelara turned her head slowly. Her eyes glowed crimson, not evil but eternal. The moment their gazes met, every rational thought inside him began to blur. His mind screamed to look away, yet his heart whispered stay. "You are not trembling," she said softly. The last one screamed before he crossed the threshold. "Maybe he didn't have a reason to stay," Elias replied. Her lips curved, the faintest sign of amusement. She rose from her throne, her every movement echoing like a melody. Her aura surrounded him, heat, pressure, the hum of unseen energy. He should have collapsed. Every cell in his body screamed in overload. But he didn't fall. Something within him, something stubborn, human, and defiant, pushed back. His heart beat harder, grounding him against her power. "Strange," Vaelara murmured, circling him. "You stand in my presence, and yet, you are not consumed. Tell me, human, what fuels you?" "Maybe curiosity," he said. "Or maybe it's you." That made her pause. A flicker of something unreadable passed through her gaze. Surprise, perhaps, or memory. "Dangerous words," she whispered. "Then maybe I'm already in danger." Middle. The test of strength. Over the next days, Elias stayed within her court. Every moment was a test. The Sythari nobles watched him with fascination and scorn, waiting for him to collapse like all others before him. Yet he endured. Vaelara began to test him. She'd summon storms to see if he'd flinch, unleash her psychic resonance to watch if he'd bleed. He did bleed once, but he smiled through it. And she noticed. "Your resilience borders on foolishness," she told him one night. "Or maybe courage," he said. "No, courage is knowing fear. You seem to have none." "Oh, I have fear," he admitted, stepping closer. "But it doesn't stop me from wanting to understand you." Something changed in her then. Her aura softened. The dark air around them shimmered less like heat and more like heartbeat. She invited him to walk the spires of her world, to witness how her people lived. He saw that the Sythari weren't monsters. They were beings cursed by biology, needing energy to live. They didn't want war. They wanted understanding. For the first time in centuries, Vaelara laughed. And for the first time in his life, Elias realized he wasn't just surviving her presence. He was changing it. Middle. The forbidden connection. As days turned into weeks, their conversations grew longer and quieter. She spoke of stars that had died before humanity was born. He told her of Earth, of music, of laughter. One night, beneath the crystalline moons of Sythar, she said something no one expected to hear from her lips. Elias, when you speak, the silence inside me stirs. He didn't know what to say. All he could do was reach for her hand. And when he did, the world trembled. Her aura flared, but it wasn't deadly this time. It was warm, like the merging of two heartbeats. The energy that should have destroyed him instead flowed through him. Their connection became a bridge between species, something no science could explain. But word spread. The Sythari Council saw it as a contamination, a heresy. They ordered him executed. And Vaelara was ordered to do it herself. Climax. The choice between worlds. The night of judgment came. The great chamber filled with nobles, their armor gleaming under the pulse of the planetary core. Elias stood unbound, proud, unafraid. By decree of the High Council, the herald said, the human who has corrupted the queen shall be ended. Vaelara stood before him, her crimson eyes cold and unreadable. Elias Kane, she said, her voice echoing, you defied the natural order. Maybe the natural order needed defying, he replied quietly. And if I strike you down now, then I'll die knowing I changed something in you. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. The guards watched, the council waited. Vaelara raised her hand. Energy gathered, red, burning, final. But instead of striking him, she turned the energy inward, toward the council dais. The room exploded in light. Enough, she roared. No more walls between hearts that can understand. The nobles screamed as their power fields shattered. Elias ran to her, shielding her as the chamber fell around them. When the dust cleared, she stood beside him, not as a queen above her people, but as a woman who had made a choice. Ending. The dawn of a new world. The aftermath was chaos. The Sythari Empire fractured. Many called her a traitor, others a savior. Elias and Vaelara escaped aboard his ship, the Argent Wing, through the burning sky of Sythar Prime. As the stars stretched before them, she turned to him, her expression unreadable. You risked everything, human. For what? For something real, he said. Something worth dying for. And what is that? You. She laughed softly, a sound that no longer echoed like thunder, but like rain. Then perhaps, she said, you did more than stand my presence, Elias Kane. Perhaps you became a part of it. They vanished into the dark between stars, leaving behind a legend that would echo across worlds. No longer the human who survived her presence, but the one who changed what it meant to be her.